guys, we're going to head back over to Nana's garden for part 2. See you there.
Okay, so for some of these seeds that you saw that are so tiny, so what I did was make, like with this kale, I made seed strips. I took a strip of newspaper, and then I made a flour and water paste. I don't know if you've ever made paste out of flour and water.
They made Play-Doh last week. So
okay.
Sort of the same beginning concept.
When I was little, we never had glue in the house for projects. And so my mom would mix together flour and water, and it would make a paste, and it's glue. It's a little messier than glue, that like Elmer's glue, but it's still a glue. So, and that's something that the plants can tolerate. So I put it in a squeeze bottle with a little tiny hole, and I made little dots all along the newspaper and put one seed in each one of those. And then I let it dry, and I came and I put it down here and buried it. Like kale needed like just a fraction, a quarter of an inch of dirt over it. Laid it here, put dirt on top of that. So now all my kale, instead of having so many seeds all together, because you can't really see all these seeds when you're putting them in the ground, instead of having them all clumped together, here's a plant here, here, an inch apart. So it made it much easier, and I wasted less seeds.
So Nana, will these lettuces grow right here in the cold box, or do you have to move them again?
Well, I have moved some of them already.
Okay.
But yes, they're growing here. And I will probably eventually move all of them out, because what you do for lettuce, if you like lettuce, which I do, I like lots of salads, you keep planting more seeds like every week or so. So you always have the lettuce growing in a different stage.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
So, so behind the lettuce here are cucumbers, and I'll be getting ready. So these right there are all cucumbers. So I will be transplanting all of them to the big planting boxes, because cucumbers are vining plants, and they'll go everywhere. So they have to be planted about this far probably apart from each other. And then I have lots of herbs that are growing here.
I was getting ready to ask about your herbs. Boys and girls, did you know that a lot of the spices that we put on our food to make it taste good grow first as plants? I see, so this says oregano.
That's oregano. That's cilantro right there.
In the corner? Okay.
No, right here.
Sorry.
Well, yeah, I guess both of them are cilantro.
Okay. I know you have some mint. It's probably not over here.
The mint's not here.
Her mint grows everywhere, boys and girls. So we have mint all over. I'll try to get a video of it before we leave.
So all of this, that's all dill.
Okay.
Like,
would you
make dill pickles?
Dill pickles.
That you would put together cucumbers and the dill and make dill pickles.
That is pretty
So I'll be
cool.
able to do that this summer.
What's this next one here?
Right here, this is thyme, I believe.
Thyme?
Thyme, which is like an Italian spice.
Yeah, it does say thyme. I can see the thing.
And those are...
tomato, it says.
Yes, that's not right. They're not tomatoes.
Bell
peppers. So that's on my list to do in the day.
Most of you guys like those
day
peppers.
Or so is to separate, to thin those out, because you can see these are all grown from seed. Look here. In here, there's some rosemary jumped the ship. So there's several bell peppers, like right here.
And if they tried to grow in there, would they be able to grow, or would that be too small? Would it keep them from growing big?
Yeah, they wouldn't ever produce anything.
Because it's too small.
So like right here is 1, 2, 3. Well, I'll be planting each one of those I'll probably let them grow a tiny bit bigger, and then just plant them right in the garden bed.
Now, is this a tomato, Nana?
That is a tomato. And there should be
Christy knew something
written on there. I think it says cherry tomato.
Yeah, I don't see anything on it, but it may
right there.
Oh,
cherry tomato. I transferred that on March 25th. So just a few days ago, and it's already grown great big.
Yeah.
And this is cabbage. I don't know if you like cabbage, but you can make coleslaw if you like coleslaw.
Yeah. All right.
Here, these are, have you ever had a red onion? Like maybe your mom or dad have uses red onions for their hamburger instead of a plain onion. Well, all of these planted right here are red onions.
Did you grow these from seed too?
No, I did not grow these from seed. You can though, but I'm impatient for that. So I went to the Farmers Co-op in Springdale, where I live. It's right in downtown Springdale. And you buy a bundle, and I have some right over there. Do you want to pause? I didn't grow these from seed. I went to the Farmers Co-op, and some other wonderful farmer has grown them from seed, and they come like this, all scrunched together. These are yellow sweet onions. And then I take them and take each one individually and plant them. And so I didn't plant them all at once because I want to extend their growing season too. So I'll be pulling some of these and eating them like green onions and salads and whatever, but then I'll leave other ones so they'll have more space to grow into a great big onion.
Cool.
So, so here's 2 garden spots, 2 that I've put in and grown from seed. These are all different kinds of squash. There's yellow squash, zucchini squash, and spaghetti squash. And the spaghetti squash, I grew from seeds from a spaghetti squash that I bought at the store and cooked, and took all of the seeds out and laid them out on a paper towel and dried them and planted them in those little pots and then into a bigger pot. And so now here's all these different squash.
Okay, Nanna, I have a question for you. So a lot of times the boys and girls like to take the seeds from their apples or different things in the dining hall and stick it out in the ground out at the school in the playground, and it never grows. Why would it not grow, you think?
An apple tree is going to be really hard to grow. Apple seed's going to be hard to grow into an apple tree. It's not impossible. Certainly, you might have heard of Johnny Appleseed.
They have.
Okay, but the conditions are going to have to be just right. It's going to have to be in a place where people aren't going to walk on it, like a playground, something like that. But actually, every seed that I have planted have, everything I've shown you, have been grown, came from a plant that someone else planted and harvested their seeds. So actually, if I wanted to, everything that I grow here this summer, this spring and summer, I could take the seeds from it at the right time of the planting season and dry them out and keep them separate and use all those seeds for next year.
But plants have to have certain things to grow. They don't just grow because you stick a seed in the ground.
Right.
Conditions do have to be right. You have to listen to all the things and figure out everything that you need to know.
And there's lots and lots of books. I have a whole stack of gardening books, and of course there's wonderful internet that we can go to and check out why aren't my apple seeds growing? What do I need to make my apple seeds grow into a tree?
Okay, so I had a question too, Nanna, about the flowers. Those just look like regular flowers. Is that squash?
No, these are marigolds. And so one of the things about plants is that not only do we like to eat the plants, so do little varmints like squirrels. If I was out someplace other than my house, some people live in areas where there's deer, and deer like it, rabbits, but there's also different insects that like to come and eat on plants. Well, marigolds and some other flowers help ward off, keep some of these, especially the insects, but even rabbits, from coming and eating eating the plants, because they let off a smell that's like a toxic smell that we can't smell, but insects and some small animals can smell it, so they avoid it. So I'll also, if you'll see over here, I have some tiny tomatoes or little baby tomatoes that will be growing off of these. I'll probably separate these later.
Oh, just a minute.
Okay, so if you'll notice here, here's 3 small tomato plants. And I put the flowers here too. Well, the same reason, to keep the insects and small animals away from these.
So when you say ward off, that means keep it away.
Keep it away.
And make it and toxic. That means poison. I know a lot of you already know that word, but when she says toxic, it just smells to them like they might be eating poison.
Right. So it doesn't bother us, but it does bother some insects. So they go away and go eat on something else and not my vegetables that I've planted. And so this week, I'm going to plant. Here's 3 beds that are empty. I'll plant some of my bigger tomatoes this week over here. I'll plant the cucumbers here. I have a place I'm going to plant okra and green beans and sugar snap peas.
Ooh, we love sugar snap. These kids love peas.
Right.
Yeah.
And so maybe we can catch up later in the season even, because then I'm going to have to build like teepees, a trellis over some of these beds so the peas and the okra and all of that can climb on them.
Tomatoes need them too, don't they?
Well, tomatoes have a separate thing that they...
Okay, well, we'll come back and look at that another time.
Yeah.
One last thing I wanted to hit. I see you have 2 little beds in the back.
Yes.
Whose bed is that right there, Nana?
That is Kinsey Kaprovik's.
Mackenzie gets to have her own bed this year. So she just finished going through it earlier and mixing up all the soil and getting her bed ready so she can start planting soon.
And I already put fertilizer in it.
Oh, what's fertilizer, Nana?
Okay.
Need to know about fertilizer.
Fertilizer is something that you can add to the soil to help plants grow, that have the nutrients that the plants need beyond, certainly, plants, you can grow them in the dirt, but to give them a boost, you put in extra nutrients that, just like
food.
us, we need vitamins. We need food, nutrition for healthy bodies and minds. Believe it or not, so do plants for their healthy body and for the fruit that they produce, like squash or tomatoes or sugar snap peas. And so what I actually put in this is something called kelp. I'm sorry. Kelp.
That sounds like seaweed.
It is. It's seaweed. Now, did I go to the ocean and get seaweed? No. But from a plant company, or I could get it at Walmart probably, but I got it from a plant company. They take seaweed, these long pieces of what's called kelp, and they dry it, and then they, I guess, pulverize it or whatever. And so then I spread it on all of these beds, and it's one of the most perfect fertilizers you can use for, in my opinion, that you can use for vegetables.
Cool.
I don't know everything, but. And so I already put kelp in Mackenzie's bed to help hers grow. Now, I used up all the kelp I bought, getting these beds ready. So once everything is planted, I'll go back and every couple of weeks add fertilizer to this to help them grow.
Awesome. Thank you, Nana.
You're welcome.
Okay, so if you think about all the things Nana told us, and she told us a lot of stuff about making, helping plants to grow and about her garden, what the main thing that we really need to learn out of all that is what plants needed to grow. So think back to some of the things that Nana said that plants needed. She didn't always say this is what they need, but think about it. When we looked at those cold frames, we found out that they need light and heat. That's right, light to be able to grow. They need that sunlight. When we looked at the roots, we knew that plants need water and vitamins to help feed them and give them what they need. Plants need air. They have to have the air. No oxygen, no air, no plant growth. Plants also need to live in the soil. There are some that can live in water, but most plants need that soil to grow. That's where they get their vitamins, their nutrients. And the last thing they need is space. If you plant those two close together, Nana kept breaking them apart and moving them apart because their roots get too close together and they're not able to get enough of the things that they need from the soil. So we need water, they need light, they need air, they need soil, and they need space. So those are the things that they need to have. So if you would go to your assignment and see if you can write down or draw a picture of those things if you can't get that worksheet to print. Otherwise, do that worksheet and put it in your gray folder. Great job.